A very good morning to you. As you know, this is my favorite segment. I am Hilda Wadidi, and it's about that time we delve into youth and politics. If you do want to participate in the conversation, do slide into our DM. Start with YM254. The number is 22162. On Twitter, we're at Y254 channel, hashtag YInTheMorning. And on Facebook, we are at Y254. And with me in studio today, I have royalty who come from the general population termed as the youth. And with me in studio, I have one Anthony Manyara, who is Kenyatta University student, Kenya University Students Organization's reigning chairman, as well as the University of Nairobi Students Association chairman. And also he is joined in studio by John Wangai, who is the youth senator of Laikipia County. Say good morning.
Good morning.
Salimieni watu, changamka, changamka.
Good morning, Kenyans. John from Laikipia. It's a pleasure for you having me here.
Okay, so amid the claims, we'd like to talk about the state of affairs in the country so far. And we've seen the president order for a lifestyle audit to be carried out on public servants. So we would just like to understand how effective as a youth leader do you think this will be in punishing perpetrators of graft?
Well, first of all, myself, like I've said, like you have said, myself is Anthony Manyara, the chairman of the Nairobi Student Association. First of all, what I would say about the lifestyle audit is that Mutwe is the first person who talked about the lifestyle audit. And you realize that he talked about the lifestyle audit because he was out of the table. When he was the governor of Machakos, he didn't complain about the lifestyle audit. But immediately he was toppled, or rather when he lost his, or rather his election was nullified.
Yes.
That's when now he complained that there are people at the high table there who are now eating, or rather who have had money through unscrupulous means.
Yes.
The president, of course, took that very seriously. We expect there will be, of course, a forensic kind of investigations against those people who have acquired wealth through means, unorthodox means. But one thing I might say is that it might not be so much effective because at the end of the day, these will be thieves. And you know, we live in a country whereby corruption is so much glorified. People just steal and nothing much happens.
Yes.
And you know that kind of norm has been there, and you know there are those people who call themselves in quotes untouchables. At the end of the day, they don't tell us where will those tips be taken. If, for example, you are caught with a lot of wealth, you amassed a lot of wealth, which we have no idea where it comes from, where will those people go? And then again, you see corruption has been the order of the day. Where since energy funds, you come to NYS, all these are millions of money.
Yes.
So myself, I come down still blame the government because of raising thieves, because those are thieves.
Raised thieves, I like that.
Yeah.
What about you, Wangai?
I think the call by the president for a lifestyle audit is timely. We are coming at a position whereby we have a new budget in place, and we are afraid that the same thing will happen to this new budget, where people have greed for money. We are seeing very posh cars, choppers, and comparing the salaries of these individuals, they cannot match. So I think this is timely, and this calls for political goodwill from all members of the divide. And I think if it is implemented, the fight to end corruption in Kenya will go a notch higher. Yes, I think it's good.
Well, we have MPs saying that we have an MP called Sudi who claims that this audit, as you're saying, there are people who find it's for public servants, but they are of the opinion that it should also be done on their kin. Do you agree? Like on their family members? Like we have the Sudi saying that even Mzee Jomo Kenyatta should also undergo the wealth review, and as well as the previous presidents and the previous people who were in government previously. So I guess that even if Mutua is trying to is saying that because he's off the table, he's not really off the table, because everybody is being investigated. Do you agree with that? Are you in agreement with this MP who believes that their families and the history and the politicians previously need to be investigated?
Well, one thing I might talk about Sudi is that his statements were political. He was like he was attacking someone in politics.
Yes.
And one thing I might say is that even if you go to the family, deep to the family, to do some kind of audit, it might show, of course, there is money which is acquired through other means, but you cannot seriously rely on it fully, because I think most of those statements were extremely very political. Another thing, one thing I might say is that the lifestyle audit should not also be done to politicians only. You realize that myself, I'm a politician. I have campaigned, even if my kind of salary is extremely very small. If, for example, we focus so much on elected leaders, you might find out that they are not even the real thieves. They are those people who, you realize that even in some government parastatus, the people that who acquire a lot of money, who are even very much unqualified for that money, they are those people who work like cows, clerk of works. And those people, they acquire a lot of money, and they are the ones who cover up for the big people. So myself, I would really urge the government, if they are very serious about conducting a kind of lifestyle audit, let them also narrow down to hands of parastatals, hands of companies, hands of institutions. We have institutions whereby we have very senior officers acquiring a lot of wealth. You try to gauge that kind of money where it's coming from. To understand.
Yeah.
Unakata kabisa, to know where it's coming from, because it's a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah. If they want to conduct a lifestyle audit, they start with these senior government parastatos, companies, non-governmental organizations.
Yes.
Those are the loopholes.
Okay.
That is where many thieves hide their money. Yeah.
Okay. So Wangai, are you in agreement with Manyara that the MP Sudi's sentiments are actually more political than they are against graft?
Yes, actually, yes it is. We remember Matakalwa saying that when you hear a dog barking, find for its owner. So Sudi's statements are a statement from someone, but now he has been used to say. And I think we know who that person is. So maybe the fight or the call for the president to ask for a lifestyle audit has touched some people, and they are not happy with it because they know that they will be found guilty.
I see.
So that's why these people are coming up saying, yeah, want to. But again, I find it very good, because we remember that in the TGLC report, when some issues like that one, that is how we will end the historical injustices.
Okay.
Looking for the causes of the problem since independence up to today.
So it kind of is a good idea as much as it's been politicized.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about now the political what can I say, field for 2022. We've had Ruto, the Deputy President Ruto, in the coastal region and touring, and we've seen a lot of coastal leaders saying that they are going to back Ruto for 2022. However, during the weekend, Raila Odinga was in Coast in Mombasa County, and he said that that Coast is still his, and that Ruto should stop campaigning as he's being dishonest for 2022. What do you think about that?
Well, myself, I would say that politics is very dynamic. You cannot predict tomorrow, because many things happen during the night. You never know. Odinga's statements might be out of the current political situations or current happenings. Of course, our DP is really campaigning. He's campaigning. Of course, he has not differentiated between his work, and he's seriously campaigning because he feels threatened. It's like he is alone. And these big people who control the country, they are merging up, and we managed to brand himself like a hustler, even though we know he's not a hustler
anymore. It's not a hustler anymore.
yeah. So it's just a notion. But one thing I may say is that Odinga's wants were just to continue like controlling the coast region, of which we expect that politics will change a lot.
Do you think that Raila will vie in 2022?
Anything is possible. Anything is possible. You might find out that Raila might vie. Now that the issues about referendum are now dying slowly, you never know.
Yes.
They might pull up a surprise scandal. They might bring it back and have maybe Raila as the president, Uhuru as the prime minister, and then Ruto will be on his own. You know,
so you believe that Ruto is campaigning very aggressively because he's alone?
Well, you can't say he's alone completely. Like I've said, politics, you can't really unfold the happenings of tomorrow. But we expect a lot to change in the span of these coming days.
All right, Wangai, what do you think?
Okay, I think Deputy President's campaign, they have been enforced by the meetings that we have seen with the Raila Odinga, Kenyatta, the handshake things. So maybe he feels that his presidential vision is threatened. So that's why he is running everywhere, looking for those. But also, again, on my view, I find it unwise to campaign now, because in 22, when he come back to the citizens, he will not have something to tell them that he did for the 10 years that he has been in power. So now asking for vote to be the president while he cannot account for the 10 years will sound very illogical. So it's wise for him to take the president's call, stop campaigns, work, make Kenya great. Time for campaigns will come, Kenyans will decide.
All right.
I can say this again. I think it's too early to campaign, especially when you are a deputy president of this country. We have just almost approved a budget, which is too high. And then again, you are campaigning when that money is not even utilized. So at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense. But also, you may feel like the deputy president is campaigning, but probably it's his nature. That's how he conducts things.
He's just planning early. He's just being proactive.
If he is able to campaign as well as work, he's still fine.
All right.
But one thing I will say from the youth's part of my side, because I'm still the chairman of all the students in the entire of the country, I'll say that we'll be very keen to identify with the leadership that is supporting youths. If, for example, in this long run, we find out that even the funds that they have put in place, even for the budget, these politicians, or rather the presidency, if, for example, it's utilized, let it also be very much keen on what youths get. Because you realize that even as we will be discussing the budget, you realize that youths have really been sidelined, especially comrades out there. You realize there are very many opportunities that you would have, but essentially this kind of money, it's like there's no proper channel to involve all the participants, because all of us in the national cake, we all have a stake.
What do you think will be the impact of KRA now being tasked to collect all this money? And this means the cost of living will probably increase, because now VAT will increase, the taxing will increase. How do you feel like, what kind of impact do you think this is going to have on the youth all over the country who are new in employment and also trying to start their own businesses?
Well, one thing I would say is that this country, we are in a very bad state, if I may say. We cannot think of still getting more money from Wanjiku, or rather the common mwananchi, when we have not even solved those problems that already we have. We have funds, yes. Are we utilizing those funds in the correct manner? You realize that very many Kenyans are suffering, especially comrades. If I speak from my point of view, the constituents that I represent, then the more than 106,000 students that I represent in the University of Nairobi, you realize that many graduates, they graduate, they don't know where they will go. There is a lot of unemployment, and you won't say that those people are not qualified. Just look at recently when we had the government mysteriously import, or rather outsource labor from Cuba. That is insane. Me being the chairman, I would call that very absurd, very unethical, and very awkward. You cannot just come and bring people from elsewhere who are maybe the same qualified with our own graduates.
Yes.
And there is no special techniques they use. We have been trained the same way. You will say that if you operate as a person, it will be different from the way we are trained here in the country. So I will say that that is really demeaning our own labor force in the country. Well, I may say because they were outsourced and they are now in the country, we can do that, but the next time we should not really focus on importing or rather outsourcing labor because we already have those more than qualified people in the country. About the budget, the budget is very big. We have never seen that before. It is almost like 3 times what was there previously.
Yes.
And that, of course, is in connection to the Big Four agenda of Uhuru, our president. What I would say is that us, like, for example, the comrades in the universities, of course, most of us hold like, we are the great minds. We are the future of tomorrow. I'll say that most of us were not so much involved in this whole budgetary process. And then again, we don't see what kind of allocation. If, for example, there is the Big Four agenda, let us have always the youths factored in, because I believe that is more of empowering the youths.
Yes, the Big Four agenda has received 400 billion according to the budget. What about you, Wangai? What do you think this is going to do in the terms of the youth?
First, I think Rotich is getting very ambitious. That as a country, we having 3 trillion. From what I was saying somewhere is that is more than the combined of East Africa budgets. That is being very ambitious, and even to add the woods, the evolution of the counties has been given only a 10% of the whole share. So you're asking where will the 90% go? We are not seeing anything in Mashinani. So I think this is being very ambitious, and although we have the Big Four, the universal healthcare, manufacturing, we have the food security, and the affordable housing, I think, okay, yes, they are great, but we are being too ambitious. We should first settle on something that is workable, create an enabling environment for business and other things, like then we can go slowly at our pace. Because right now we are working on loans, debts, which there's a report I was reading that NIS are almost to declare it a national disaster, a threat to security, the public debt. So I think they should stop being too ambitious. But if that's the way they want to go, then they should bring more money to the counties, because the counties is where we are seeing more development.
Okay. However, I wanted us to talk about a news scam that we woke up to concerning the sugar, the smuggling of counterfeit sugar that contains mercury and copper that's being sold in local outlets all over the market. Why? Okay, we'd like to understand from your point of view. Why do you believe? Why would someone do this? Like, why would someone put copper and mercury in sugar and sell it to Kenyans? What do you think is the politics behind that?
Well, personally, I would say that one is, if you look at it more logically, a bit clearly, in a crystal clear manner, you realize that it's an outburst. Looks like there are some people who are conducting some illegal businesses, and then they fell out. So there was just an outburst of one person exposing the other, because yeah, I believe there's no way you can import illegal sugar in the country without you just consider all the bottlenecks.
Yes, the Kenya Bureau of Standards,
all the kind of bottlenecks you go through before you reach the common mwananchi and sell a product from a product that is outsourced from another country or rather imported. There's no way. We have a lot of bottlenecks even in our boundaries. We have even our security people guarding all those kind of things, the security checks, all those things. How can you just bypass all those and conduct a business for very many years.
Atwoli has said that Francis Atwoli, the Kotu Secretary General, said that there are some list of powerful MPs, which he also plans to release a few names that are in cahoots with this whole sugar scandal.
That one is just a threat. It's a political threat.
Wangai, what do you think?
Okay, in my view, first, this is very inhuman. I cannot supply substances that are very poisonous, having copper and mercury to human beings. This is being very inhuman. But I think also this comes with the society that we are living. Kenya is a capitalist state. It's such that you live on your own. So they will use all the devious means to get something. But also I want to say that they are not alone, just as my brother said. They are very powerful individuals who are supporting them. And I would ask the president and Matiang'i, the CS, to crack the whip and let us know these people.
Yes.
So that, and also prosecute them, so that it can be a lesson to others.
Yeah.
And I also believe it's not only about the sugar. The other products that are leaking in, which are very poisonous. It's time we come up as a country and save other millions Kenyans' lives.
I like that. However, I will have done the students in this country a big disservice if I didn't ask you my last and final question. Anthony, this one is for you. You have just filled in Babu Wino's shoes, and people would like to understand, how has the journey been? Like, are you even going to look for political seats yourself going forward? What are your political ambitions? And we'd like to hear your experience fitting or filling Babu Wino's shoes.
Well, I would say it's not simple. Babu Wino has been in power in the University of Nairobi for 4 years. 4 years. And managing a whole, actually University of Nairobi is a whole constituency, considering that we have 12 campuses. We have 12 campuses, including Mombasa campus and Kisumu campus. We have more than 106,000 students. We run a huge budget of more than 50 million. Yeah. And another thing, another thing is that you realize that the University of Nairobi has got a diversified kind of populace, whereby we have all the tribes. So politics there is very, very diverse. In fact, in a very long
just like Kenya, but in a school.
Yes. We normally say that the University of Nairobi is like the fourth arm of the government. Because
you are the sixth estate.
It brings out the picture of how the national outlook is. So maybe basically coming to those shoes, personally I've come up with a new spirit. A spirit whereby we are saying we are changing the narrative. There has been very many issues that were there before. We have got very many suspended students who have been in the previous years. We are now very keen on seeing how we can restate them. That is one. Number two, of which that process are still it's in the process. Other key issues that we intend to do in the spirit of change the narrative is that we intend also to ensure that we improve cooking amongst, in the mess, and also restore cooking in the hostels.
Hey, okay.
Those are amongst some of the things that we intend to do actually.
All right, thank you very much. Wangai, do you have any parting shots? Because it's about time we wind up.
To conclude, I would want to tell these members, so you have had MP Nyoro and Ngojiri Wambogo say they want to change the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act of 2004 to include the penalties like capital punishments. Let that come with speed, because some people need to be shot dead for this country to
So you're like
proceed.
Sabina Chege, you agree with the shoot to kill?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. What about you? Let's finish your last parting shot.
Parting shot is that because we have a high level of graft in the country, NYS should be managed by youths. The reason as why we are having a lot of theft is because it's being managed by people who who are just have a record in stealing.
So
Why
I
should
hope
they-
the president is listening.
Why should they not give us NYS to manage? Like myself, if I'm given NYS to manage, in fact, there will be no more stealing.
All right. I like that. Anyway, thank you so much for coming today, Anthony and John Wangai. Yes, you have been watching Youth and Politics. I am Hilda Wadidi. Do not touch that dial. Man Crush Monday is going to be coming soon, as well as Hello Day. So do not touch that dial. If you want to participate in the conversation, do remember to slide into our DM. The number is 22162. Start with YM254. Do not touch that dial.